What's up, people of the internet? It's Handy Jeff, and if you want to know what an out-of-control hydroponic garden looks like, well, there's one behind me. Now, last year I planted this, and this year I planted it again, and last year I manicured the whole thing and checked it a whole lot more. So I've got to be real with you guys. I failed at being a good dad to my hydroponic garden this year. I've had issues with the pump seizing up, with it going dry multiple times, and you know, I'm only checking it maybe once or twice every week now. And I just wanted to talk about, hey, what did the season give us and some of the things that ended up happening with this bad boy. So if you're new here, I'm going to go through this system that I have that you can barely see because it's overgrown and explain to you how this thing works. Let's start with the original reservoir. So here is the original reservoir. As you can see in here, I have a pump, and then that on the right hand side is an autofill valve. So once the water level drops below that silver autofill valve, it will continue to fill until it reaches that autofill valve. It shuts off. It is then pumped up, and I have 4 runs that are made out of 4-inch PVC. They run all the way down here. If we go to the other end here, I can show you a little bit better. As you can see, we have 4 different runs of PVC where there are plants planted. I also have this set up to tie tomatoes off to, which I never did this year, unfortunately. And as you can see, that caused the tomatoes to completely take over the ground, or the entire garden, actually. Got a lot to pick here. We have a lot of fruit that's good right here, and as you can see, some of this is dying out. And honestly, the terrifying reason for that is that this whole garden went dry for about 4 days, and I tried to bring it back to life, and as you can see, some new growth has sprung up. But let's go through what I planted and the things that survived, and also a little bit more about how this system works. So if you remember that autofill valve, it is actually plumbed in and connected, which you can barely see all the way back there, to this big water tower. I basically created a water tower to feed my smaller reservoir because in the hot summer days, I was having to replace the water in that reservoir literally at least once a day, sometimes twice a day. So I created one that was 5 times the size and had it feed the smaller reservoir. So you only have to fill this up every couple days, even during the main heat in summer. So if you've been following the channel for a while, you know that we planted a couple different types of tomatoes. We've got Romas and we've got cherries, as you can see here. But I also planted some cucumbers and zucchini, and last year they were terrorized by all of the bugs. We had a lot of squash bugs, and they ate everything that was in sight. I even have a little leak right there. Wow. Well, it's towards the end of the season. We'll check it out in another date. But anyway, what happened with that, even though I didn't get squash bugs this year, the squash got destroyed. It died out, and I don't know if it's just because of bad chemistry or what, but as you can see, some other things have been thriving. Of the things that are still alive, we have some dill that is slowly starting to die out, and really we should have tried to save, but it just grew downward as well. We have some green peppers, and you know what? Hey, they're living. We've got a few green peppers here, but as you can see, this whole plant's a little wilted. I wonder, oh, hey, maybe we're not getting enough water in here. Looks like we are, though. So I don't know what's going on with that. Probably some bad water chemistry as well. Might not have enough fertilizer or nitrogen in there. Then we have jalapenos inside our plants here. Check that out. We've got quite a few jalapenos up here as well. And you know, that's honestly, I think they were thriving. They just got so heavy, they got tilted over. Then we have our basil plant. And this thing's been cut back and died a few times, and it's still thriving. Now, something that is unique about this entire thing has just been a ginormous, experiment. I don't really know what I'm doing, and I'm just kind of testing different vegetables to see if they'll grow or not. I grew up on a farm, and I really enjoy growing my own food. One of the really sad things is that unfortunately when the water stopped pumping, I lost my strawberry. And I was really going to try to keep it alive. I was going to end up putting it in my other garden and putting it inside, which is right over there. But unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to do that this year. But this is actually, it's super unique and it's super cool. And honestly, hydroponics hasn't really taken on too well in the United States. So it's just a cool little hobby, and I wanted to share this with you. What's interesting is we have all these tomatoes and the way that they look. And down here, this seems to be growing better on the ground. I wonder what the dealio is with that. The world may never know. It also appears that my broccoli plant finally got fried when the water died as well. And that thing was growing huge. It was the biggest broccoli plant I've ever seen in my life. So honestly, people of the internet, I have a favor to ask. What vegetables do you grow in your hydroponic garden? Because I need to know what's going to take off. So far, I know tomatoes and peppers seem to do pretty well. And maybe I'll produce enough next year to actually, you know, account for a lot of the food that we eat. And also, it'll be enough to take care of, I'll make sure I take care of this garden. So, sorry for the really quick update. The 2025 season for gardening is almost done here in Iowa. And I just let this thing basically grow into a giant bush. So that's the reason why there haven't been any hydroponic updates. And for that, I'm really sorry, because I know some of you guys came here for the hydroponics and not just fixing things like I do. But I did build this system myself. And if you're interested in that, drop a comment down below, because I built this off camera and I would love to build another one and teach you guys how to do it yourself if you're interested. But if you're not, then I just won't make that video. Guys, this has been Handy Jeff. We'll be back again next week with another video. Thank you so much for watching. And if you like gardening, like fixing things, like learning how to maintain your own stuff, then hit that subscribe button. That tells the YouTube gods that, hey, this guy's pretty cool. Let's show it to more people. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I apologize for not keeping you updated on this wonderful bush of just produce. Anyway, we'll see you in another video. Bye!